Water on a property can make a home feel completely different. A pond in the back, a creek along the edge, a low, quiet piece of land with trees, privacy, and space between you and the neighbors. Maybe it's not technically waterfront in the way people picture boats and docks, but the second you see water or land that feels tucked away, the home starts to feel so peaceful. That's usually the moment buyers start picturing the good parts. More privacy, more space, a slower pace, a morning outside with coffee, room for animals, a garden, a workshop, a barn, or just a little breathing room. But when you're buying rural property in Florida, water is not just scenery. Water can affect your insurance, your inspections, your septic system, your driveway, your ability to use the land, your animals, your maintenance, and what the property feels like during the wet season. So in this video, I want to walk you through what actually changes when you're looking at rural or semi-rural property near the water. Because the listing photos may show you the pretty version, your job is to understand the property after the rain, after the inspection, after the insurance quote, and after closing, when everything becomes your responsibility. And I'm not saying that to talk you out of buying land. I love helping people understand these types of properties because they can be amazing when you are the right fit. You just do not want to buy 5 acres, a pond, a big backyard, or a quiet country setting without knowing what questions to ask first. Let's start with the part most buyers underestimate: drainage. In a neighborhood subdivision, drainage is usually built into the design of the community. You may have retention ponds, storm drains, graded roads, and an HOA or municipality involved in certain maintenance. On rural property, you need to look much closer. Where does the water go when it rains hard? Does it sit in the yard? Does it run toward the house? Are there low areas that stay soft? Can you drive across the land after heavy rain, or does part of the property become unusable for a while? That really does matter because Florida can look one way during a dry week and completely different after a strong storm. A yard that feels spacious and beautiful during a showing might have areas that hold water longer than you expected. A back pasture may look perfect for animals, but if it stays wet too often, that changes what you can actually do with it. This is why I always want buyers to look past the pretty view and think about how the land actually functions. A home is not just the house. With rural property, you're buying the land, the access, the drainage, the systems, and the maintenance that comes with all of it. Flood zones are another big piece of this conversation. A property being in a flood zone does not automatically mean it is a bad property. In Florida, plenty of homes need a closer look because of how the land sits, how water moves through the area, or how close the property is to certain low-lying sections. Heck, all of Florida is in a flood zone. The real issue is whether you understand what that means before you buy. You want to know if flood insurance may be required. You want to understand how that affects your monthly payment. It is also worth asking whether the seller has an elevation information or an elevation certificate, previous insurance details, or any history of water issues. The mistake is falling in love with the land first and asking those questions when it's too late. By the time some buyers think about flood insurance or drainage, they're already emotionally attached. They're picturing the fence, the chickens, the fire pit, the dogs running around, lifestyle that's slower, that they're wanting. That is exactly when it gets hard to make a practical decision. So ask early. If the property has water nearby, low areas, a pond, a creek, a ditch, or land that looks like it could hold water, do not treat that as a small detail. It belongs near the top of your due diligence list. Now let's talk about wells and septic, because rural buyers need to understand that these systems are part of the property. If you are used to city water and sewer, buying a home with a well and septic can feel unfamiliar at first. It is not something to fear, but it's something to inspect and to understand. With a well, you want to know about the water quality, the water pressure, the age of the components, the treatment systems, and whether anything has been recently serviced. With septic, you want to know where the tank is, where the drain field is, when it was last pumped, how old the system is, and whether the size of the system matches the house. The location of the septic system matters more than some buyers realize. Maybe you want to add a pool later. Maybe you want to build a workshop, expand the driveway, add some fencing, or use certain part of the yard for animals. You cannot make those plans without knowing where the septic and drain fields are located. Water on or near the property can also make those questions more important. If land stays wet, if drainage is poor, or if the property has low areas, you need to understand how that might affect the systems that are already in place. This is not the glamorous part of rural living, but it is one of the most important parts. The house can be cute, the porch can be perfect, the trees can be beautiful. Still, if the systems are not right, the property can become a complete nightmare. Another thing buyers miss is access. When you look at rural property online, the focus is usually on the acreage, the privacy, and the house. What you may not notice right away is the road, the driveway, the easement, the gate, the culvert, or the way you actually get on the property and off the property. Access can change your daily life. Is the road paved? Is it private? Who maintains it? Does the driveway hold up during heavy rain? Is there a low spot near the entrance? Would delivery trucks, trailers, or moving trucks have an easy time getting in? If you are buying land because you want animals, equipment, a boat, an RV, or a trailer, you have to think beyond whether the driveway looks fine for a regular car. A property can feel private and peaceful, but if access is difficult after bad weather, that privacy may start to feel inconvenient. This becomes even more important when water is involved. A ditch at the front of the property may need a proper culvert. A long driveway through lowland may need maintenance. A gate may look really charming, but if the entrance holds water or gets soft, you need to understand what that means over time. The same goes for fencing and for animals. A lot of buyers are drawn to rural property because they want more freedom. They want to have dogs and chickens and horses and goats, a garden, or maybe just enough space that they are not staring directly into their neighbor's window. But water affects how you use the land. Some areas may not be ideal for fencing. Others may stay too wet for certain animals. A pond might be beautiful, but you need to think about safety, maintenance, livestock access, mosquitoes, erosion, and whether the water feature is natural or man-made. There can also be rules you still need to check. Rural does not always mean you can do whatever you want. There's zonings, there's deed restrictions, agricultural classifications, HOA rules in certain communities, and county regulations can all affect your plans. So before you assume you can add animals, build structures, park equipment, run a home business, or make major changes, you need to verify it. That one step can save you from buying the right-looking property for the wrong plan. Now let's talk about maintenance. A bigger piece of land gives you more room, but it also gives you more to maintain. Grass, trees, fencing, drainage areas, ponds, driveways, outbuildings, wells, septic, barns, sheds, gates, and exterior structures all become part of ownership. That is very different from buying a newer home on a smaller subdivision lot. Neither one is automatically better, they're just completely different lifestyles. A buyer who loves projects may enjoy the rhythm of rural living. Someone else may want the space, but not realize how much time, equipment, or money it takes to keep everything in good shape. That is where you need to be honest with yourself. Do you want privacy enough to maintain it? Because the land does not take care of itself, y'all. If you're buying a rural property near water, you may also have some extra maintenance that's tied to the erosion, drainage, paths, tree growth, pest control, and wet areas that need attention after the storms. This property does not mean the property is a problem. It means the property needs a buyer who understands what ownership really looks like. Another thing that can surprise buyers is insurance. Rural property can bring up different insurance questions than a standard home in a standard subdivision. The insurance company may care about the age of the roof, distance to a fire station, type of construction, flood zone, outbuildings, prior claims, animals, fencing, pools, ponds, and whether there are certain structures on the property. If the home is older, you may also need to look closely at electrical, plumbing, roof condition, and wind mitigation. That is why I never want buyers to wait too long to get their insurance information. We'll do that right away during our diligence inspection period. A property can be within your purchase price budget and still feel uncomfortable once you see the full monthly picture. If you're financing the home, your lender will care about this too. Insurance, inspections, appraisal, property condition, and loan type can all be part of the transaction. Rural homes can absolutely be financed, but the details matter, especially if the property has acreage, maybe some outbuildings, older systems, or anything that's unusual. You want the right people involved early, right away. Your lender, your insurance contact, your inspector, and your agent should all understand what type of property you're trying to buy. A rural property is not always a simple copy and paste transaction. Now, let's get into lifestyle, because that's the fun part and the part that gets people excited. Rural Florida living can be beautiful. You can have more privacy, more quiet, more room to breathe, and a stronger connection to the land around you. For some buyers, that's exactly what they've been missing. But the dream works best when it matches your actual routine. How far are you from the grocery store? How long is the drive to work? What happens when you need a quick appointment, a last-minute school pickup, or a service provider? Is internet reliable enough for your job? Will you be comfortable driving those roads at night or during heavy rain? These are not deal breakers for everyone. For the right buyer, the trade-off is completely worth it. But you should know what you are trading before you buy. A quiet rural property can feel peaceful on a weekend showing. It can feel very different on a busy Tuesday when you forgot one thing at the store and the round trip takes longer than you expected. And that's the difference between liking the idea of rural living and being ready for the reality of it. Another mistake buyers make is comparing rural homes to subdivision homes, as if they are the same product. They are completely not. A subdivision home may give you newer finishes, community amenities, easier maintenance, and more predictable surroundings. A rural home may give you land, privacy, flexibility, and character, but it may also come with older systems, more upkeep, and more due diligence. When you compare them only by price, square footage, and bedrooms count, you miss the point. The better question is, which lifestyle fits you actually the way that you want to live? For some buyers, a newer home with less maintenance is the right move. For others, land and privacy are worth the extra responsibility. Your search gets much easier once you stop trying to make every property compete on the same checklist. Now, here is what I would pay attention to when walking a rural property that has water nearby. Look at the ground first. Is it soft? Are there low spots? Do you see standing water, erosion, drainage ditches, or areas that look like they stay wet? Then let's look at the systems. Find out if the home has well and septic. Ask about service records, the age of the systems, location, and inspections. After that, look at the access, the driveway, the road, the culvert, the gate easements, and the maintenance responsibilities all matter more than they seem at first. Then think about how you want to use the land. Animals, gardens, outbuildings, pools, workshops, fencing, and extra parking all need to be checked against the actual property layout and local rules. Finally, bring it back to money. You got insurance, inspections, maintenance, repairs, equipment, utilities, and future improvements. That should all be part of your budget conversation. That is how you keep a beautiful property from becoming a surprise. And this is where having local guidance really does matter. A rural property can look simple online: a few acres, a cute house, a pond, a long driveway, a big porch, maybe a barn or shed out back. But once you're serious, the conversation changes. You're not just buying bedrooms and bathrooms. You're buying drainage, access, systems, land use, maintenance, insurance realities, and a lifestyle that has to work long after the excitement of the showing wears off. But wait, there's good news. The good news is when the property fits, it can be incredible. There's something special about having space around you. There's something peaceful about a home that does not feel like every other house on the street. And for the right buyer, rural living can feel like finally getting the room you were looking for. You just want to understand the full picture before you fall in love with the view. So if you're looking at rural homes, acreage, bigger lots, or properties near water in this part of Florida, slow down before you decide. Walk the land. Ask about the drainage. Check the flood zones. Understand that well and septic. Look at the driveway, the fencing, the structures, and the way that you would actually use the property. And before you assume the pretty version is the whole story, make sure you know what ownership will really feel like after closing day. If you're starting to search for a rural property, acreage, or a home with more privacy, you can visit my website to see current available homes. And if you want someone to help you think throughout the land, not just the house. I would be happy to help you look at the full picture before you make your next move.